Hey team, welcome back to Ross Spec. You've caught me cleaning up after I've just finished my last repair. Now, this wasn't my last repair of 2024, this is my first repair of 2025. So I'll finish up here and we'll get into it.
And here she is, my 1976 XC Fairmont Hardtop. She's been stored in a shed for years, but isn't she a beauty? Until she came to me, she'd only been in one family. The previous owner's great uncle bought it brand new at the beginning of '77. It makes me happy that he probably drove it to work on Monday the 3rd of October, feeling really happy about the day before, knowing he had one of those.
They come down in that magnificent view from the 7 helicopter for victory in the 1977 Hardy Perodo 1000.
The XC was new for '76, and with its introduction, the hardtop only came in either the GS or the Fairmont variant. Before buying her, I did a heap of research. You know, I'd always assumed that those rectangular headlights were an option, but now I know that they were exclusive to the Fairmont. Good thing is, looking through old brochures, and when you get to the Fairmont hardtop page, you can see exactly how mine left the factory. Maybe I need to get myself a brown leather jacket. So she came with the 4.9 litre, yeah, the XC they started talking metric, and the 3-speed auto. It was optioned to have twin exhaust, 4-wheel disc brakes, I don't know if it was an LSD, standard fuel tank, and the Class 1 tow pack. What I do love is if you ordered a GS hardtop with the GT Power Pack, which was the 351 option of the day, with the manual transmission, the brochure lists that it could be subject to change without notice, as is necessary to comply with touring car homologation requirements. I love that the car you ordered could be changed at any time so they could keep racing it. I'd almost think the car in the photo could be mine if it weren't for the fact that the supporting pictures of the interior, in the same doe-skin houndstooth, showed the 4-speed manual and the rear shop was exempt of a tow bar. What I find most impressive about her is this is all but the paint she left the factory with. In saying that, she's not perfect. There is a bit of rust in the boot, and the passenger side guard and panel under the windscreen have seen better days. All the normal trouble areas like pillars, rear quarters and rear windscreen are clean as. Considering that she's almost 50, I think she's doing well. And the interior is all but unmolested too. There is new carpet, in the wrong colour, but it's all here and it hasn't been cut up. It's a bit dirty and it has an interesting rear seat cover, but I love that the original AM push button radio is here. It would have had a bit of a stereo in it at one stage, as you can see some speaker wires hanging down, and there is an amplifier mounted in the boot, but the rest has been removed. While the body is all original, the powertrain definitely isn't. It still has the numbers matching 302, but is now stroked to a 351 with a 4MA crank. Matched to that is ported heads, bigger cam, roller rockers, ceramic coated headers, and a Performer intake manifold, topped off with a 750 double pumper and an electronic ignition system conversion. The transmission has been rebuilt with a stage 2 shift kit, 2500 RPM stalled torque converter, and a bigger oil cooler. There's also a 5-core radiator with later model Falcon thermo fans, and in the back a 9-inch diff with 3.5 diff gears, true track center, and 31 spline axles. And gone is the original fuel tank, in its place the 120 litre version. Also not original are these 15-inch wheels, wrapped in 235 tyres on the front and 295 in the rear. The previous owner told me he'd run it down the strip multiple times. He said that it would run a 13 on motor and an 11 with a bit of a spray of nitrous. Unfortunately, most of the nitrous kit is gone. There are only a few telltale signs that used to be here, starting with the lights under the tacho that are strapped to the steering column, and then there are some toggle switches hidden under the dash, and there are a few loose electrical connectors in the engine bay that I bet ran the solenoids. But I haven't actually bought this car to go fast. I bought it to cruise, and it sounds exactly like you'd imagine a car like this to sound. Nice lumpy idle, and plenty of bark to go with its bite. So why buy a hardtop and why now? To be honest, I can't remember a time in my life where I didn't want a hardtop. I was either too young, couldn't afford one, didn't make sense as an only car, or they got too expensive. And this one showed up at the completely wrong time, but she was too good, at too good a price, that if I didn't buy her, I was never going to get one. Well, I'll keep how much she costs to myself. I will say, you could buy a cheaper one, but it'd be a rusty bare shell, and you could buy a better one, but it would have easily come with a 6-figure price tag. I bought this one at the price that I've seen prepped shells going for, but this one's running and driving, and I can use her right now. And it's such an honest car, with such a great story, and only 133,000 kilometers on the clock. It hasn't been all smooth sailing though. In the couple of months that I've had her, I've had a few teething issues. I feel a bit like Nicolas Cage in Gone in 60 Seconds. No few seconds of cinema can tell my story better.
Don't start with me. No, start, come on.
I had the distributor module fail. In the process of figuring out if we can repair it or not, realised that the distributor in there was actually for the later XD, XE V8s. They had a smaller shaft size, so I had to fork out for a new MSD ready-to-run distributor. In the process of fixing that, I noticed there was a small coolant leak. Luckily enough, that was just a loose hose clamp on the top hose. Then there was the power steering hose that you caught me finishing up before. That split and I had to change it. I tell you, that was not a fun job. Now for the 6-cylinder or even had factory exhaust manifolds, it probably would have been easier. But to get that pipe back up to the steering box, I've never been so frustrated in my life. But I see these as teething issues. She actually sat in their back shed for quite a few years, so she hasn't seen this much action in ages. I can't blame her for it. I actually feel a bit bad buying this car. It had been in the one family for its entire life. The previous owner used to use it as her family car with both her kids growing up in the back. She even told me that her eldest daughter used it as her graduation car. Unfortunately, her son didn't get to use it because he is finishing grade 12 this year. I felt really bad for him as they came to sell it because of a breakdown of their relationship. He didn't do anything wrong, but he gets to miss out. So after we'd done the deal, I offered to come back and let them use the car for his graduation. She started crying, I got a bit misty, it turned a bit messy, but they're all happy tears. So at least we can help them full stop their story in as positive light as possible. So what are my plans? Well, that's the hard part. You only have the paint you leave the factory with once. Now most of it's not too bad, but that rust in the boot really needs to be sorted out. She would look amazing with a new coat of paint. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you would do with the paint. The interior, while nice, could be so much better. I would love to go through and retrim the whole lot. Still in the same doe skin houndstooth, but all new. Then there's the powertrain. There's nothing really to do here other than keep it running, but I would love to add a third pedal. With all the mods so far, I wouldn't feel bad about swapping out the auto, and geez, it would make it fun cruising around. But all of that will have to come down the track. I want to be able to fulfill my promise to take the young bloke to graduation in her. So I'll be focused on just keeping her available until that day comes. Now the family used to call her Merve in tribute to their great uncle that bought it new. Now when we talked about Merve, all I could see was this. However, when we texted about the car, they replied with Merve with an E. So I started to do a Google on girls' names that were similar to Merve with an E and came up with this. I can get on board with Merve, so Merve with an E it is. So that's it, Merve, my 1976 XC Fairmont Hardtop. What do you think? Is there anything I missed? Or what sort of modifications would you do to her? Let me know in the comments. To see what we end up doing to her, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, remember, there's more to going fast than going fast. Catch you later.